Get this. Nintendo is actually raising the price of the Switch and its games and accessories in Canada in an era when the prices should be going down. And this has big implications, scary implications, if I'm honest, for those of us around the globe. But that's not all, because Nintendo also isn't selling the Switch 2 on Amazon, and we now know why, plus a free Switch 2 upgrade for another third-party game. That is the kind of victory we need on a day like today. So what's going on, everybody? Is Zach from Switch Force. Switch pricing. There was all that kerfluffle, right, around, is the Switch 2 price going to go up? People were like, is it going to be higher? Tariffs, nonsense, and then luckily we got it at the price that it was promised to us at. They didn't raise the price. They did raise the price of the accessories. But now Nintendo has come out and made a very interesting claim. They say that starting August 1st, Nintendo Switch 1 is going to be raising in price, which isn't cool. That's not the way you're supposed to do this. This is really not what we want to see. They're saying that the Switch OLED, the Switch Lite, physical and digital games, and accessories are all going up. Amiibo, Switch Online, everything basically related to Switch 1 is going up. Now, Nintendo does note, please note, this pricing change does not apply to the Nintendo Switch 2 system, accessories, or software. But you got to be worried, right? You cannot look at this and say, oh, this is good news, right? Because why is the Switch 1 going up? A system that, frankly, like, are many people even buying? I mean, some people are buying. I think people would buy it if the price went down. But if you're going to boost the price up, isn't everybody just going to look to the Switch 2? It's very strange, and I understand that a lot of this is based on market conditions. I mean, that's what Nintendo straight up says, that Canada is going to have pricing changes August 1st because of market conditions. But when did they make the announcement for US price increases for market conditions? And look, the hope here is that, fine, I guess, like, raise the Switch 1 price, raise the Switch 1 games, raise the Switch 1 accessories. It sucks, it's stupid, it's not what we want to see, but it's better than touching our Switch 2 stuff. The fear becomes, do they then touch Switch 2? Is Switch 1 sort of like, hey, we're going to slowly do this to you, and eventually we'll get to Switch 2, but we want to start soft and kind of prep the waters because you know how much people hate price increases. We know how much people hate expensive Nintendo stuff. We saw that over the last 3 months. My hope would be that Nintendo is able to leverage the price increase for Switch 1 to therefore keep the Switch 2 prices where they are. I mean, that's kind of the hope. I don't know if that's pie in the sky, just like whimsical thinking, or if that's reality. We don't have any comments on Switch 2 right now. They do specifically call out that Switch 2 will not be going up, but obviously they're not promising anything for the rest of the year, for the rest of the future, just for this August 1st change. Now, why Canada? Why not elsewhere? I don't know. We could, get into the geopolitics, and we could look at all of the different market conditions, tariffs, etc. But the fact remains that in a major market, a Western market, Nintendo is raising the price of their 8-year-old system. They're raising the price of games, they're raising the price of accessories and online, and they're doing this for a system that the price should 100% be going down. Switch 1 didn't really see a price cut the entire generation. It saw a price increase if you consider the Switch OLED to be that. Yeah, it's a new iteration, a new variation, but it's a more expensive console. And now we've got the price going up again. I cross my fingers that they don't touch the Switch 2, and here's why. I understand Nintendo needs to make money. I understand they need to be profitable, but dude, the Switch 2 has sold already 5 million units. Nintendo is making a ton of money on the Switch 2, on Mario Kart World. They're about to have Donkey Kong Bonanza. They're about to have even more first-party published games. They're going to continue to sell Nintendo consoles. They've got a Pokemon game coming out that's going to push sales for games on Switch 1 and Switch 2. They probably have another hidden holiday game. They got more directs to have. They got Mario's 40th anniversary. They have so much coming down the pipeline, including a holiday season where people are going to try and get this system for their kids, their relatives, their grandma, their girlfriend, whatever. Nintendo has plenty of profits that they can afford to keep the Switch 2 where it's at. I just about guarantee that. So I don't want to see the Switch 2 raise in price. Like, I understand that they had to price it where it's at, and they felt the need to price Mario Kart World where it's at. We've already talked about that so much, and we've kind of, accepted it. Don't make us reconsider everything, and definitely don't punish people that either had to wait or weren't able to get a system at launch, whether it was because of finances or just freaking couldn't find one. Don't punish them and increase the price of the system in just a few months. That's like my bottom line. The Switch 1 thing is very bizarre. I'm not a fan of it, obviously, but like if you're going to raise the price of something, by golly, do it to the Switch 1. People will then be more encouraged to buy Switch 2, and I hope that they're able to keep the Switch 2 at its current price, and in particular, I guess, the games. Like, don't raise the price of the games. I don't want to see all of a sudden DK Bonanza creep to 80. I don't want to see, by the end of the year, we're releasing Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment at 80. Keep that where it belongs, Nintendo. Do right by us. You're in a very delicate situation, I'd say. You're having extreme success. This pricing update is going kind of under the radar. It's not going to make waves because what's going to make waves is DK Bonanza previews were great. The game's about to come out. It's going to look great. They're saving this price change for August 1st, so it's not immediate. So there's not immediate reactions. People probably don't know about it that much. Just be careful, Nintendo. There's a tightrope here, and I really encourage and need you to walk it well. Nintendo also has been walking a tightrope with Amazon, which we've seen for a while now. It was very bizarre that Amazon, by many accounts the biggest online retailer, did not have Switch 2 consoles at launch or at all. There was no pre-orders. There was no day one purchases. They're still not up there. Now, Switch 2 games are available on Amazon, but we now know why things have been so murky between the big A and the big N. According to a report from Bloomberg, it seems like the two got into an argument over third-party sellers undercutting the price of Nintendo games. So what this would be not Amazon directly, but Amazon, like if you go there, they have like multiple prices, multiple offers. You can see like, oh, Amazon's selling this for $24.99, but then, Krusty's Fun Shop is selling it for $22.99. And, Bowser's Little Boutique is selling it for $21.49. Now, it seems like Nintendo believes that these third-party merchants were swallowing up Switch games from Southeast Asia where they're cheaper, and then selling them en masse in Western regions to undercut Nintendo's price, sell it for cheaper, make more sales. And Nintendo was like, yo, Amazon, you really should stop this. We really don't want you doing this. We set this MSRP. We trust you to sell it. And a lot of people don't care if they get the game from Amazon directly or from a third party. It's still via Amazon, right? Like they still can use their Amazon Prime. They still often can use their Amazon account. They obviously can. They don't need to be so picky, but Nintendo is picky because they want their games sold at a certain value. Nintendo is super big on the evergreen nature of their titles, on them being a certain price, and on getting the price that they feel they deserve on the games. As we know, Nintendo does like expensive games, and they wouldn't like you to have freebies or cheapies or anything of that sort. Now, I think it's a bit greedy of Nintendo. I think third-party merchants should be allowed to do what they want, and I don't know that necessarily Amazon's to blame, but it does make more sense, and it gives us illumination and insight into why the Switch 2 still is not available. I guess Nintendo is giving Amazon a trial period, saying, hey, you can have some Switch 2 games, but we're not giving you the big one, which is the console itself. We're not giving you the huge seller, which is the Switch 2 itself. We're going to make you kind of test it out and see if you can curtail some of this third-party nonsense. So we'll see if that relationship deteriorates again or builds back again. For now, it seems to be in a decent position, but still no Switch 2, which is annoying. And as that console, gets restocks and comes back to being more readily available, or even towards the holiday season where you want a good option to buy it from, it would be nice if they could get the console itself on Amazon, but right now that ain't happening. Now, what is happening is another third-party game is getting a free Switch 2 upgrade, and I love to see this. We need more of this, okay? Fantasy Life I did this great thing where it was like $2.79 for the upgrade. I think even Hogwarts Legacy was pretty good at a $9.99 upgrade. Nintendo over there trying to charge $20 for upgrades in a lot of cases, and that's, they're adding new content, I get it, but free upgrades are where it's at, and we want a precedent set that third parties are going to give us free upgrades, $3 upgrades, $5 upgrades, stuff like that. So the new Shadow Labyrinth game that I think looks super sick, coming out a day after Donkey Kong, which is dangerous to say the least, but it looks really cool. It's taking Pac-Man to this new place, Metroidvania, Castlevania, and it's giving Pac-Man the ability to do mazes and also make bosses cry. I'm getting this game 100%, and it's so good to know that it's 4K 60 on Switch 2, and that thing gets a free Switch 2 upgrade if you buy the Switch 1 version. This is already a budget game. It's not a full-price game. That is super nice. Now, if you don't have a Switch 2 yet, you're waiting for Amazon to stock the Switch 2. You're waiting for the holiday season to get yours. You're waiting to, now, gosh, if the Switch 1 goes up in price, maybe you can sell or trade in your Switch 1 for more. You're going to be okay. You can buy the Switch 1 version, play it on day one, and then when you get a Switch 2, your game will transition over, get those quality upgrades, get that performance upgrade, and boom, be in a really good spot. And I love to see it. We want to see third parties embracing this, not game codes and game key cards. Third parties, we like this. We don't like that. So let me know more of what's going on, third parties. We're getting some words from Furukawa right now about game key cards, and I'm not liking what I'm hearing, so we'll talk about that probably tomorrow. In the meantime, though, let me know what you think about the Switch 1 raising its price in 2025, how you feel about the Amazon Nintendo TIFF, and is Nintendo justified in being pissed off about third-party merchants selling their games for cheaper, bringing the price down? Also, Shadow Labyrinth, you picking that thing up, or you just getting Donkey Kong Bonanza? I can't blame you. That's the one I'm most excited for. It's almost DK Day. In the meantime, though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. Switch Force out.